So I was born and raised in a Christian home. We were in church every Sunday, every Wednesday, often Monday nights for music practice. My mom played the flute in the church band, and life was, pretty standard for the first while there. Then around first grade, my things got really weird, really difficult. My dad's personal demons caught up to him, and instead of turning to God, he turned to the bottle. And he was never violent, but it was still very self-destructive. And shortly thereafter, my parents got a divorce. Thankfully, that's not the end of that part of the story. A number of years ago, my dad started to turn his life around, went back to the church, quit smoking, drinking. Fast forward today, my dad's an active member of his church and reliable member of my family. So God's definitely worked miracles in my family. Around that time where in first grade, I graduated from the smaller children classes to go to our youth ministry, which is we call it children's church. The whole back of the room had like a Western theme. There was rawhide on the walls, pastor wore a cowboy hat, spurs, tin star, the whole nine. And the back of that stage area was a stage area and like a puppet windows that we used as part of the service. For many years, my mom had gone to that music practice, and I took the opportunity to join the puppet show, the music team, and anything else I could in that class. And I just did the practice on the same nights she did. And I really enjoyed being a part of that group. Really helped me learn like a solid foundation in God and have a good work ethic. And a couple years down the road, all three of my sisters joined me on all those teams. And we were essentially the music team in that children's church. And I also started being an usher in that section. And it really gave me and my sisters some stability in this time. But after I left this, I went to the teen youth group, and I didn't really feel as connected as I had in the teen services. So I just started joining the lower class as a helper to the pastor. And I really enjoyed that. As I got older, I started helping younger kids and started leading my own services on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights. And God had really cultivated like a joy for service while I worked there. And then I graduated high school and I got hit with this wall, like, what are you doing with your life? And I had no idea what I was doing with my life. And that led to fears and insecurities, really. One of the biggest things is that fear of failure, that I was going to fail everything. I couldn't help anybody anymore. And it always seemed like I was just one step away from falling. And then I started to realize, why do I feel like this way? I never felt like this way before, even what things were happening around me. And then I realized I had stopped going to church as much. Like I rarely went, and when I did go, like my mom had to kind of convince me that morning. Why did that happen? How could that have happened? It was around this time there was a weekly men's meeting at my church, and they were doing a study of Wild at Heart by John Eldredge, and learned things about me that I never knew before. And honestly, if anyone hasn't read that book, I would recommend it for any man. Since high school, I'd also been getting OCD that had never been a problem before. And at this point, it'd start ramping up to 11 and all sorts of things, even driving caused me insane levels of anxiety. And the more I went and started going back and seeing these lessons and then going back to church, that the grip that it had on me lessened and lessened. And now it's basically an occasional afterthought, becoming weaker by the day. It was around this time that I had transferred from my previous school to U of M, and I moved to St. Paul. And I met Ben on the train. The first time I met him, I wasn't ready, and I declined that first offer. Thankfully, later I met him. I'm not sure, maybe later that semester, or maybe into the next semester in the spring. And then I met him on the train again, and I was ready to start growing, and I joined the Bible study. Shortly after the time in the Bible study, we came across one of my favorite passages as a child, which is around Luke 7, chapter 6, is where the Jewish leaders had brought Jesus to the centurion saying, this guy is worthy, like you need to help him. And he got to his house and he sent out his servants and his friends saying, Lord, I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof. I'm not even worthy to come into your presence, but just speak the word and my servant will be healed. For I'm a man subject to authority with soldiers under me. I say to one, go, and he goes, and another, come, and he comes. And to my bondservant, do this, and he does it. Now when Jesus heard this, and he marveled at him and turned him aside to the crowd, followed him. I tell you, not even in all of Israel have I found such great faith as this. And I always liked this passage so much because like the Jewish leaders said, so, he is worthy, he is worthy. And the centurions realized, well, no, I am not worthy. I am saved by grace. And he had complete and utter conviction and no doubt. And I remember that I used to value that so much, and I let doubt creep into my life, and I lost sight of this completely. So it was really nice to see that verse going through again. Right around this time, I think I'd start going outreach with Ben on campus. We met somebody named Tim, and we started doing Bible study with him, where I would actually lead the studies, which is really a different thing for me lately. Whereas before I would lead services, but I hadn't done that in so long, and it was really a different feeling, and it felt good to do again. So aside from the previously mentioned liberation from OCD, I recently graduated college, and I started, after what seemed like, such a long time of working and, just being broke or racking up debt, and finally succeeding. And it was really thanks to like some of the men God had sent to my life, other people that had also transferred in, that helped me finish my degree strong when I had moments of doubt or just needed help to go that extra mile. And thank God I was able to find a job inside of 3 months doing exactly what I wanted to do. Finding this job was an answer to one of my main topics for 2021. And one of the best parts of this job is now I'm able to help my family and some friends that supported me along the way, especially my parents. And I'm not sure what God has set aside for my future. I remember in Bible study with everybody after we had gone through COVID and back from COVID and started doing in-person things again there at the house. We had this thing, and we saw this prayer topic or quote from Luther Wishart. It said, "I am willing to go anywhere at any time to do anything for Jesus. Oh God, where the water once flowed, let it flow again." And right now I'm just really trying to find where I can apply that to my life and see where God wants me to go and do what God wants me to do. And that's it.